Hi, welcome to my video on the addition and subtraction of mixed numbers. Adding mixed numbers. I'm going to follow these steps. Number 1, express each proper fraction as the equivalent fraction with the LCD. Add the natural numbers, add the fractions, and simplify. We always simplify fractions at the end when we 2 over 4 becomes 1 over 2, etc. Let's add these mixed numbers. 4 plus 3 is 7. Notice that both of them have a 5 common denominators. We write it down. 1 plus 2 is 3. Notice that two denominators now are 6 and 3. So the least common denominator, same as the least common multiple, is 6. Because 6 is a multiple of 6. 6 is a multiple of 3. So I have to multiply the 3 by 2 to get 6. So I multiply top and bottom by 2. So 2 and 1, 6, and 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. Now I have the fractions at the same denominator, so I can 2 plus 1 is 3. And when I add fractions, I have to have the same denominator, which is 6. 1 plus 4 is 5. C, I have 7 and 3/10, 8 and 3/4. I need a common denominator. Common denominator for 10 and 4 is a multiple of 10. That's a multiple of 4 is 20. Let's see. 10 is 2 times 5. 4 is 2 times 2. So that's 2 times 5 as factors. I have 2 2's and 1 5. That gives me a 20. That means I multiply the 10 by 2, 2 over 2. And I multiply the 4 by 5, 5 over 5. Equivalent fractions, 7, 2 times 3 is 6, 10 times 2 is 20. 8, 3 times 5 is 15, 4 times 5 is 20. I have the same denominators, so I'm okay to add. 7 plus 8 is 15. Common denominator is 20. Keep the 20. And when you add, you get a 6 and a 15 is 21. Notice you have an improper fraction. So this improper fraction is the same as 21 over 20 is 1 and 1 over 20. So 1 plus 15 is 16 and 1 over 20. Improper fractions, you divide the denominator into the numerator and it'll give you 1 and 1 left. Let's continue with D. Common denominator for 9 and 15. Well, let's break 9 and 15 down. 9 is 3 times 3. 15 is 3 times 5. We have a 3 and a 5 as factors. 1 3 there, 2 there, so we have a square. So the LCD, or least common multiple, same thing. 9 times 5 is 45. So I have a 9. 9 into 45 goes 5, so I need to multiply it by 5. So 5 on top and bottom. I have a 15. 15 to 45 is 3, so I need a 3 times 15 is 45, so I need a 3 on the top. That makes it 6, 45 on the bottom, and 40 on the top. 8 times 5, 9 times 5. Plus 7. 15 times 3 is 45, and 11 times 3 is 33. Now I add my natural numbers, which is 13. Add my fractions, keep the denominator 45. 40 plus 33 is 73. Now 45 goes into 73, just 45 into 73. Oops. It won't go into 7, but it will go into 7 once. 45, when I subtract, I get a 28. So that's 1 and 28 over 45. So 13 plus 1 and 28 over 45. That gives me 14 and 28 over 45. 45 got a 5, but there's no 5 in 28. 45 got a 3, but there's no 3 in 28, so that's the smallest it can go. Let's do some more practice. You work these out and pause your video, and come back. Hopefully you get them all right. I have a common denominator of 10, so that's great. I add my numerators, it's just 16 and a 9. 7 and 2 makes 9. 16, 10 into 16 goes 1 and 6 tenths. 1 and 6 tenths. So 9 plus 1 and 6 tenths makes 10 and 6 tenths. And that makes it 2 is common, so 2 and 6 goes 3, 2 and 10 goes 5. Again, an improper fraction, divide the denominator into numerator. 4 and 2, common denominator, multiple is 4. So we multiply the second fraction by 2 over 2. Common denominator is 4, done. I have a 1, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. Notice the LCD or least common denominator, same thing, is a 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. Common denominator is 4. And I add 3 plus 2 is 5. Again, I have 5 over 4. 5 over 4. 4 into 5 goes once and 1 left over. So it's 1. So that's 4 plus 1 and 1/4. So that makes it 5 and 1/4 when I simplify. Number 3, I have a common denominator, 6 and 4. Common denominator would be 12. 12 is a multiple that 6 and 4 divides into. So let's multiply the 4 by 3 and the 6 by a 2. Notice I could do the multiplication or a dot, is your choice. If I use dots, they mean multiplication. So I have an 8, and 6 times 2 is 12, 5 times 2 is 10. I have a 4, 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9. I have the same denominator, so I can add now. 8 and 4 is 12. Common denominator is 12, write it down, and add up 10 and 9 gives me 19. 19 divided by 12 is 1 and 7 left over, so it's 1 and 7/12. Nope, 1 times 12 plus 7 is 19. Look back up here. I have 50, 53, but this is reduced, so you can't tell so much. But if you multiply the denominator times the natural number and add on the numerator, you should get this fraction 19 over 12. So that's 1 plus 12, 13 and 7/12. So notice, it just takes a while to get used to it, but you have to memorize the steps. So as soon as you see it, you say, oh, I know what to do. Common denominator for 6 and 10, I could say it's a 30, but let's work it out. 6 is 2 times 3. 10 is 2 times 5. I have a 2, a 3, and a 5. 6 times 5 is 30. So I multiply first denominator by 5 over 5. Multiply 10 by 3 over 3. So notice that 5 times 6 is 30, common denominator. 5 times 5 is 25, and I got 11. Over here I got a 24, and 10 times 3 is 30, right? 7 times 3 is 21. I have a common denominator of 30, good. So I'm able to add 35 over 30 is my common denominator, and 25 and 21 is 46. And 46, 30 into 46 goes once, and there's 16 left over. So it's 1 and 16 over 30. 1 times 30 plus 16 gives you 46. So that's 36 and 6 over 6 and 16 over 30. Notice that 16 and 30 have a common factor of 2, so we divide by 2. 2 into 16 goes 8. 2 into 30 goes 15. 8 got 2s and 4s. 5 does not even, so it can't reduce. Let's continue. Subtracting mixed numbers is the same steps. We have to write each proper fraction is equivalent to the LCD. We have to. Notice I got mad here. I should have, subtract. We're subtracting. Sorry about that. I read the first one on addition and kept it there. Just changed my numbers down below. Sorry about that. Subtract the natural numbers. Subtract the fractions. Simplify. Now we're subtracting. Common denominator is 8, so that's great. So 9 subtract 2 is 7. And 5 subtract 1 is 4. Over the common denominator of 8. 4 and 8. 4 is a common factor. 4 and 4 goes once. 4 and 8 goes 2 when you simplify. 10 and 2, not common, so we make it the least common denominator. A multiple for 10 and 2 is 10. So we multiply 2 by 5. 5 over 5. 10 times 2 makes, 2 times 5 makes 10. So 11 and 7 over 10. 9. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. We have the same denominators of 10. 11 take away 9 or subtract 9 is 2. 7 subtract 5 is 2. Common denominator is 10. And 2 and 10 have a factor of 2. 2 and the 2 goes once. 2 and the 10 goes 5. Let's keep going. We have 9 and 6. 9 and 6, I could say 18, but just to make sure, make sure you know what you're doing. 9 is 3 times 3. 6 is 2 times 3. So we have a 2 and a 3. So notice 3 times 3 is 3 squared. So we have a square here and a 1 here. So we take 3 squared. We only have 1, 2. Nope. We take the largest exponent. So 2 times 9 is 18. 18 is my LCD. So I multiply the 9 by 2. 2 on top. I multiply the 6 by 3 to get 18. So 3 on top. That gives me 8 and 16 over 18 when I multiply. That gives me a 7. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 6 is 18. I have the same denominators, so I'm able to subtract. 8 subtract 7 is 1. 16 subtract 15 is 1. And can't reduce. 15 and 5, the LCD. I have a 15 and a 5. The LCD is 15. 15 is a multiple of 15 and 5. So I multiply the second one by 3 over 3. 3 times 5 makes 15. Do not have to change the first one because it's already an LCD. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. I have the same denominators of 15. 10 subtract 3 is 7. 4 subtract 3 is 1 over the same LCD, 15. Practice. Pause your video, work these out, come back to see if you're right. Ooh, we have the same denominators of 9, so 6 subtract 4 is 2. Common denominator is 9. 8 subtract 2 is 6. Notice 6 and 9 have 3 in common. So 3 into 6 goes 2. 3 into 9 goes 3. I have a 10 and a 5 as a LCD is 10. So I'll multiply the second fraction by 2 over 2. Because this is already a 10, which is what I want. And 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10. Denominators are the same. So I'm able to subtract. 9 subtract 1 is 8. Common denominator is 10. Write it down. And 9 subtract 6 is 3. 3 cannot break down because 3 is prime and 10 doesn't have a factor of 3. 14 and 21, number 3. I need a common denominator. 14 is 2 times 7. 21 is 3 times 7. So I have a 2, a 3, and a 7. Only singles. That's a 1 there and a 1 there, so the power is 1. 6 sevens are 42. So 42 is my common denominator. That means I multiply 14 by 3 over 3. Multiply 21 by 2 to give me. Notice if you look at these three here, 14 is 2 and 7, 3 is left. 21 is 3 and 7 is 21, so 2 is left. So that quick way to eyeball without dividing, if you do it this way. It's 3, 11 times 3 is 33, 14 times 3 is 42. 3, 10 times 2 is 20, 21 times 2 is 42. Same denominator, 3 minus 3 is 0, so I have 33 minus 20 is 13, and 42 is my denominator. 13 is prime, can't reduce it. 8 and 12. Common denominator for 8 and 12. If you said 24 right away, you'd be okay. But if you didn't, break it down. Here we go. Good. 12 is 3 times 4, which is 2 times 2. So that's 2 squared times 3. We have a 2 and a 3 as a factor. The largest power of 2 is 3. And the 3 is 1 3 there. So that's 8 times 3 is 24. If you notice 24 right away, you didn't have to go through the all prime factorization. 3 times 8 is 24, so it's 3 on the top. 2 times 12 is 24, so 2 on the top. Remember, you have to go with 3 over 3, 2 over 2, 4 over 4, 5 over 5 to get equivalent. 17, 21, 24. 5 times 2 is 10, 12 times 2 is 24. Same denominator of 24. So 17 subtract 12 is 5. 24 is my denominator. 21 subtract 10 is 11. 11 is prime, so I can't reduce it. Let's continue. What if the proper fraction cannot be subtracted? What I mean, we're dealing with the set of natural numbers, and the natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So, an example, 3 over 7, subtract, say, 5 over 7. 7 is my common denominator, but we know in math that 3 subtract 5 is a negative 2. We're not dealing with this right now. We will deal with that in another unit later in videos after we get integers done and we do rational numbers, which are fractions with negatives in them, but not right now. So what happens when I look at this one? So if we can't, sorry, I got ahead of myself. If we're going to do method 1, I call it method 1. One way is to change the mixed numeral to a natural number and improper fraction and subtract. In other words, that's a 2 and a 4. We can't subtract because it's a negative. So if we change 8 and 2/5 to a 7, well, let's explain. 8 and 2/5. If you make that a 7 plus 1 and 2/5, because 1 and 7 is 8, and then your 1 times 5 plus 2 is 7. So now you have a 7 and 7 over 5. So what does that do? Well, 7 subtract 4 will work. Common denominator is 5, great. 7 subtract 4 is 3. 7 subtract 3 is 4. So we subtract the natural numbers 4, and 7 subtract 4 is 3. So I got 4 and 3/5. So if it's not big enough, we can take 1 away and change it. Notice the common denominator here is 3 and 5. They're prime, so it's a 15. So let's convert them first. 5 is multiplied by 3, so 3 over 3. 3 is multiplied by 5, it's 5 over 5. Reason we're multiplying by 3 and 5 to get the common denominator of 15. 1 times 5 is 5, 3 times 5 is 15. 6, 4 times 3, 5 times 3. Notice we can't subtract. So if you think about it, 9 and 5 over 15 becomes 8 plus 1 and 5 over 15. That's 8 plus 1 times 15 plus 5 is 20 over 15. Now I have an 8 and 20 over 15. Let's look at it again. Notice the common denominator is 15. Now I can say 20 subtract 12 It's 8, so it's okay. 8 subtract 6 is 2. 15 is the common denominator. And 20 subtract 12 is 8. So again, the numerator here is not big enough, so we change it around. We practice that previous when we're talking about the mixed numbers in the other video. So every video, one leads into the other. So to learn what's in one video helps you what's in the next. Very important. And that's what math is all about. Learn in the lower grades what you need in the upper grades and keep practicing. We have 10 and 4. Common denominator for 10 and 4, we say 20. After a while, you get used to the numbers. Multiply by 5, and you multiply the 10 by 2. 20 is your LCD. 13 and 6 over 20. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 5 is 15. 6, subtract 15, can't do it. So, if you think about 13 is 12 plus 1 and 6 over 20. 12, 1 and 6 over 20 is 1 times 20. It's 20 plus 6 is 26 over 20. So that gives you 12 and 26 over 20. Notice now I'm able to subtract. 26 take away 15. Great. 12 subtract 4 is 8. Common denominator is 20. 26 subtract 15 is 11. 11 is prime, so it can't reduce. So you try these two. Pause, work them out, press play, come back, see if you're right. Can't subtract. Common denominator is 8. Can't subtract, so we make 13 plus 1 and 3/8. We make that a 13, and we got 1 and 3/8. So that's 13 and plus 1 times 8 is 8, plus 3 is 11 over 8. Remember, 11 divided by 8, 8 goes into 11 once and 3 left over. So this is 13 and 11 over 8. Subtract 10 and 7 over 8. Now we're able to work it out, because 11 take away 7 is a 4. So 13 take away 10 is 3. Common denominator is 8. 11 subtract 7 is a 4. But notice this time, got to be careful. The 4 and 8 can reduce. 4 and the 4 goes once. 4 and 8 goes 2. Remember, if you take 4 over 8 and divide by 2, you get 2 and 4. If you then divide by 2 again, you get 1 and 2. So dividing by 4 right away, which is the GCF, gets you there quicker. If you divide by 2 and then 2 again, you still get there. Common denominator for 2 and 6 is 6. So we multiply by 3 to get 6, and 3 on the top. So that's 11 and 3 over 6. Again, notice we can't subtract. So the 11 becomes a 10 and 1 and 3/6. So that's 10, and 1 times 6 is 6, plus 3 is 9. So that's 10 and 9 over 6. Now we can subtract. Because 9 take away 5 is 4. Subtract. So 10 subtract 6 is 4. 9 subtract 5 is 4 over my common denominator of 6. But notice, 4 and 6, 2 is a common factor. So 2 and the 4 goes 2, 2 and the 6 goes 3. Another one, 8 and 12. I can see a 24, but if you can't, just break it down. This is why I keep breaking it down. Prime factorization. I'm a believer in the prime factorization. Oops. So 8 is 2 times 4. 4 is 2 times 2, which is 2 cubed. 12 is 3 times 4. 4 is 2 times 2, so that's 2 times 3. But there's 2 2's, is 2 squared. The LCD, or least common multiple, I got a 2 and a 3. I have a 2 cubed is the highest power. 1, 3. 8 times 3 is 24. So if you've seen the 24 right away, then you wouldn't have to do all this. So that's a 3 over 3 gives me 24. 12 times 2 is 24, so I need a 2 on the top. So that's 12 and 3 over 24. 7 and 22 over 24 when you multiply. 11 times 2, 12 times 2, so on. Can't subtract, so we make this 12 is 11 plus 1 and 3 over 24. 11. 1 times 24 plus 3 is 27 over 24. So I have 11 and 27 over 24. If you notice, go back and look when I'm changing all these. If you look at, if I want to make that a 12 to 11, I'm just adding the two of these together, really, to get to 27. I'm adding the two of these together to get the 11. I'm adding the two of these together. 3 and 6 make 9 over 6. So to add these together is the same as putting that 1 there. It's just a shortcut. But keep working it out until you know what you're doing. Now I can subtract 4. 27 subtract 22 is a 5. And simplify. Just another way to do it. A good little skill to know. But there's another method that you're going to see used quite often, and that's change the improper fractions, change to improper fractions, and continue with what you know. Let's explain. 4 times 5 plus 1, 21 over 4. 8 plus 3 is 11 over 4. So we're changing a mixed number to an improper fraction. Notice my denominators are the same, but 1 subtracts 3, I can't do it. So now by changing them, I have them all over 4. So now I can 21 subtract 11 is a 10. And 4 into 10 goes 2, and 2 left over. 4 divided into 10. 4 into 10 goes 2. 2 4s makes 8. Subtract to get a 2. So it's 2 and 2 over 4. And 2 over 4 becomes 1 over 2 when you divide both by 2. Can't subtract here, but another name for 7 is a 6. So 7 is 6 plus 1. And the 1 is a 3 over 3. Because the denominator is 3, then I have to have a 3 here. So reduce the 7 to a 6, and the 1 becomes 3 over 3. So 3 over 3 is 1, 6 plus 1 is 7. That's one way. Or that would got 2 and 1/3, but we said we're going to change them. So let's look at the 7. Okay, 4 and 2/3. This was the old way that we did just then. So let's look at making a 12, 14 over 3. Change them to an improper fraction. 7 is 7 over 1. So I have to multiply by 3 over 3. That makes it 21 over 3 minus 14 over 3. In other words, 7 is 21 over 3. 3 is my denominator, so 3 7s are 21. Because my denominator is 3, I'm able to subtract these now to get a 7. 21 subtract 14 is 7. 3 into 7 goes 2, and 1 left over. So we're changing them to improper fractions. This is the old one way where you rearrange, and this one is not much to it. You can see the subtraction's okay, but let's go with improper fractions. 42, 44 over 7. 6 7s are 42 plus 2. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Notice a common denominator, they're primes, so I have to multiply the first one by 2 over 2 to get the 14 denominator. Multiply the second one by 7 over 7 to get the 14 number. So that becomes 88 over 14. This becomes 49 over 14. Both denominators are 14. So what's 88 subtract 49? So I have 39. 39 over 14. Just to make sure, 8 and 8 is 8. Yep. 14 goes into 39. 14 divided into 39 goes 2 times. 2 times 14 is 28. So I get 11 left. So that's 2 and 11 over 14. Again, different methods. You decide which way you want to go when you can't subtract. Let's practice these. Pause, play it back. Here we go. Can't subtract them, so we're going to change them to 37 over 9. 18 plus 7 is 25 over 9. We have the same denominator of 9, so 37 subtract 25 is a 12. 9 into 12 goes once and 3 left over. Notice that 3 over 9 divide by 3. 3 into 3 is once, 3 into 9 is 3. Change them, mixed numbers to improper fractions. 20 plus 1, 21 over 4. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 5 is 21 over 8. Common denominator is 8. So we multiply the first one by 2 over 2. 2 times 21, 42. 2 times 4 is 8. So notice I need an 8. 8 is here, don't have to change it. I need to multiply by 2. I have to multiply top and bottom by 2 to make them equivalent. 42 subtract 21 is 21 over 8. 8 goes into 21 twice. 2 8s are 16, 5 left over. So nope, and just another way, method 2. But you'll use this changing mixed numerals to improper fractions quite often, coming up on division and multiplication. But it's your choice what to do when you work these problems out. 36 plus 1 is 37 over 6. 27 plus 4 is 31 over 9. Common denominator, 6 and 9. 6 is 2 times 3. 9 is 3 times 3. 3 squared. I have a 2 and a 3. 1, 2. 2 to 3 to the 1. 3 squared. I take the square. Take the largest. 2 times 9 is 18. If you look at 6 and 9 and see 18 right away, great. So you multiply the 6 by 3 to get 18, 3 on the top. You multiply the 9 by 2 to get 18, 2 on the top. So that gives me 1. 37 times 3 is 111 over 18. 31 times 2 is 62 over 18. Now, what is 111 subtract 62? So that's a 9, and that's a 10, so it looks like I got a 49. Use your calculator, but I try to keep using my pencil in my head. 18 divided into 49. Well, let's see, 2 18s is 36, and I get a 13 left. So that's 2 and 13 over 18. 13 is prime, it can't reduce. Just method 2, just another way to help you think. And method 2 can be used at any time when adding and subtracting. We don't have to have when we can't subtract. We use it when we're adding. For most times, we would say this is a common denominator of 6. So the old way, or the normal way I should say, multiply by 3 to get 6. Multiply by 2 to get 6. So this is 2 and 4 over 6. This is 1 and 3 over 6. Add. When I add, I get a 3 and a 7 over 6. So that's 3 plus 1 and 1/6. 4 and 1/6. Notice 6 and the 7 goes 1 left over. So 1 and 1/6. But if you change this to 6 plus 2 is 8 over 3. And you change this one to an improper fraction. 1 times 2 plus 1 is 3 over 2. Common denominator is 6, so you multiply by 3. And you multiply by 2. That gives you 16 over 3 plus 9 over 3. And that gives you 25 over common denominator of 3. 25 let's see, 16, 9. Oh, that's my mistake. That's a 6, and that's a 6. That's a 6. 6 goes into 25 4 times, 1 left over. I wonder how come I didn't get the same answer. Sometimes we make an error, which, remember, we're only all human, so I keep making a few errors, so I'll try to catch myself, or students catch me what I'm doing. Again, I forgot to multiply 2 by 6, 2 times 3, and I put 3. Just a little error. So you can do either or, but this is the normal way of working it out. This is the longer way, but it still works. If you like my video, then click on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. If you wish, write a comment. And also, if you visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, then you'll see the info on me. You'll see the videos, that topics that I'm going to have, etc., and the number of videos I'm going to have, and what's completed and what's not completed, are in black and red font. Thank you for viewing the video. Bye-bye.